What if I told you some of the facts we all learned in school are basically historical fan fiction? From royal PR stunts to lies that went viral before memes existed. Today, we're tearing through 15 of the dumbest, weirdest, and most persistent fake facts in history. Get ready to unlearn some nonsense. Number 1. The Great Wall from Space. Astronomical lie. Let's start with a big one. The Great Wall of China. You've heard it 1,000 times. It's the only man-made object you can see from the moon. It's an epic thought, a testament to human achievement visible across the cosmos. The only problem? It's a total astronomical lie. You can't see it from the moon. You can't even reliably see it from low Earth orbit with the naked eye. Astronauts have repeatedly confirmed this, saying you have better luck spotting a major highway. The myth was born long before space travel and just sounded too good to fact-check, and it has stuck around like gum on a shoe ever since. Number 2. NYC sewer alligators. Urban folklore. Ah, the sewer alligators of New York City. A classic piece of urban folklore that just won't flush. The story goes that rich families bought baby alligators as pets, got bored when they grew, and flushed them down the toilet. These resilient reptiles then thrived in the warm, dark sewers, growing into giant blind albino monsters. It's a fantastic horror movie plot, but there's zero evidence it ever happened. What would they even eat down there? An endless supply of lost wedding rings and pizza-loving rats? Despite decades of sanitation workers navigating the labyrinth beneath the city, not a single colony of giant paligators has ever been discovered. Number 3. The Global Illuminati. The nerdy flop. The Illuminati, the all-seeing eye on the dollar bill, the secret society of global elites pulling the strings from a shadowy boardroom. Here's the hilarious truth. The Bavarian Illuminati was a real group, and it was a total flop. Founded in 1776, it was a small society of Enlightenment-era intellectuals who wanted to promote reason. They probably spent their secret meetings arguing about Kant over stale crackers. The all-powerful cabal that supposedly rules the world was basically a short-lived nerdy book club that got busted by the government after about 10 years. They couldn't even organize their way out of Bavaria, let alone run the entire planet. Number 4. St. Patrick and the Snakes. Ultimate PR stunt. Every March, the world celebrates St. Patrick, the legendary hero who drove all the snakes out of Ireland. It's a story of faith triumphing over evil, except for one tiny, inconvenient detail. There were never any snakes in Ireland post-glacial anyway. The island was separated from the mainland by water long before snakes could slither their way over after the Ice Age. The story is a powerful metaphor, a brilliant piece of PR. The snakes were a symbol for pagan religions that St. Patrick worked to replace with Christianity. He was the ultimate spin doctor, turning a routine missionary assignment into a monster-slaying epic. Number 5. Diamonds are forever. Marketing genius. Prepare to get angry at your jewelry. The belief that diamonds are inherently rare and incredibly valuable is perhaps the most successful marketing lie of all time. Diamonds are not particularly rare. They are one of the most common gems. Their value was artificially inflated by one company, De Beers, which established a global monopoly, hoarding diamonds to control the supply. Then they hired an advertising agency in the 1940s, which gave us the slogan, "A diamond is forever," and invented the modern tradition of the diamond engagement ring out of thin air. That shiny rock isn't a symbol of eternal love. It's a symbol of marketing genius.
Number 6. The Flat Earth Myth, 19th Century Slander. The myth about the Dark Ages is so pervasive that we even use the term to describe a time of supposed ignorance. Central to this is the idea that everyone in the Middle Ages believed the Earth was flat. This is a lie invented to make people from the past look stupid. Educated people in the Middle Ages knew the Earth was a sphere. They had been reading Greek texts from scholars like Aristotle for centuries. The whole Columbus proved the Earth was round narrative was fabricated in the 19th century to paint him as a lone genius fighting against a superstitious backwards church. His critics weren't afraid of him sailing off the edge. They were correctly arguing that the planet was much bigger than he thought. Number 7. The Unsinkable Titanic. Press hype. The story of the Titanic is the ultimate tale of human arrogance meeting a very large, very cold iceberg. Central to this legend is the claim that the White Star Line advertised the ship as unsinkable. It's the perfect ironic setup for a tragedy, but they never actually said that. This powerful label was mostly slapped on by the press after the disaster to make the story more dramatic and sell more newspapers. The company used much safer lawyer-approved language, like calling the ship practically unsinkable. The media just dropped the practically because unsinkable ship sinks is a headline that writes itself. Number 8. Cleopatra's beauty. The brains, not the looks. Thanks to Hollywood, our image of Cleopatra is of a drop-dead gorgeous Egyptian queen, a siren who seduced powerful Roman men with her otherworldly beauty. Let's correct the record. First, she wasn't Egyptian. She was the last ruler of a Greek dynasty. More importantly, evidence suggests she wasn't a conventional beauty. Coins minted during her reign show a woman with a prominent hooked nose, a sloping forehead, and a sharp chin. Her real superpower wasn't her looks, it was her brain. She spoke multiple languages, was a brilliant political strategist, and had a charisma so powerful it made two of the most influential men in the world risk everything for her. Number 9. Newton's head bunk. Slapstick science. The story is practically a cartoon. Isaac Newton is sitting under a tree. An apple falls, bonks him right on the head, and bing, he instantly understands gravity. But the whole hit on the head part is a later addition to spice things up. Newton himself told the story that he was simply looking out a window when he saw an apple fall from a tree. The sight made him wonder why it fell straight down and not sideways or upwards, which sparked his thinking. The reality is far less slapstick. There was no comical bunk, no ouch, just a quiet moment of observation that led to one of the greatest scientific breakthroughs in history. Number 10. The Iron Maiden. The medieval prop. The Iron Maiden. It's the stuff of nightmares and heavy metal album covers. A terrifying human-shaped sarcophagus lined with sharp spikes designed to slowly impale a victim. It's the poster child for medieval brutality. Except it's a complete fake. There is zero historical evidence of this device ever being used in the Middle Ages. It was actually fabricated in the late 1700s, likely as a morbid art piece to be displayed in a museum to shock and entertain visitors. It was a macabre prop, the historical equivalent of something you'd find in a cheesy haunted house.
Number 11. Abner Doubleday invented baseball. Cultural fabrication. Ask an American who invented baseball, and you might hear the name Abner Doubleday, a heroic Civil War general who supposedly drew up the rules in a dirt field. It's a beautiful, all-American origin story, and it's 100% baloney. The myth was created by a special commission in 1907 that was tasked with finding a purely American inventor for the national pastime, specifically to deny its obvious roots in the English game of rounders. They basically just picked a famous dead guy and pinned the whole thing on him. America literally invented a fake inventor to win a cultural argument against the British. Number 12. General Tso's chicken. The 1970s takeout. General Tso's chicken, that sweet, spicy, deep-fried staple of every American Chinese takeout menu. It's supposedly an authentic dish from China's Hunan province, named after a formidable 19th-century military leader. In reality, it's about as authentically Chinese as a cheeseburger,
The dish was invented in the 1970s by a chef in New York City who wanted to create something that would appeal to the American palate. If you go to Hunan province and ask for General Tso's chicken, you'll just get blank stares. The real General Tso probably spent his life eating simple regional cuisine and would be utterly baffled by his sticky, battered legacy. Number 13. White marble statues, a casualty of color. When we think of ancient Greek and Roman art, we picture pristine, elegant white marble statues. This image is a complete accident of history. In reality, those statues were originally painted in incredibly bright, gaudy, and sometimes clashing colors. We're talking vibrant reds, blues, greens, and yellows covering every inch of them. The paint simply wore off over millennia, leaving behind the bare white marble. The Renaissance artists who rediscovered these sculptures assumed they were meant to be monochrome, and the classical white aesthetic was born. The ancients weren't minimalists. They had the color palette of a 1980s music video. Number 14. Nero fiddled while Rome burned. Political slander. The story is legendary. As Rome burned in 64 AD, the decadent Emperor Nero stood on his palace balcony, callously playing his fiddle. This is a fantastic piece of slander, but it's factually impossible for two big reasons. First, the fiddle hadn't been invented yet. If he played anything, it would have been a liar. Second, historical accounts from the time actually placed Nero 35 miles away when the fire broke out. He rushed back to the city to organize relief efforts, using his own funds to provide food and shelter. The story was likely propaganda spread by his political enemies. Number 15. Life expectancy was 30. Statistical deception. We've all heard the grim statistic that the average life expectancy in the Middle Ages was only around 30 years old. This paints a picture of a brutal world where everyone was considered ancient by the time they hit their late 20s. But this number is a classic example of how statistics can lie. The average was dragged down dramatically by an incredibly high infant mortality rate. If you managed to survive childhood and make it to your early 20s, your chances of living to a ripe old age of 60 or even 70 were actually pretty good. The world wasn't full of teenagers having a midlife crisis. It was just a very dangerous place to be a baby. Turns out, history is basically a group project where half the team lied and the rest didn't fact-check. So which of these lies would you keep just because it makes history more fun? Tell us in the comments. And hey, if your brain feels slightly betrayed but very entertained, hit like and subscribe for more unapologetically weird.